Brock Purdy has had the most shocking start to a career we have ever seen. Sure, the debate will rage on about how good he actually is. System quarterback, game manager, product of the system, yada yada. But those kind of quarterbacks can't handle the heat, can't handle getting sped up and pressured. Everybody would suspect he's overwhelmed against the blitz, but he rips through it like tissue paper. His 10.2 yards per attempt against the blitz led the NFL. Compare that to Lamar at 8.3, Mahomes at 7.4, and his ability to rip up the blitz demonstrates all of his abilities for how he wins as a quarterback. Today we'll dive into the film to analyze how he destroys the blitz, but before we do, I want to thank this week's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is a virtual private network, or VPN, that keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all the information set between your device and the internet. This is honestly just an added benefit compared to the real breadwinner, which is how you can switch your IP address if you're overseas and are unable to watch the Super Bowl so that you can watch it. When I've traveled, I always use a VPN. If I'm in London or somewhere I'm having trouble watching football, watching Nathan For You or Severance, Surfshark makes it so I can click a button and in half a second my computer thinks I'm in the USA or wherever, so I can get back to watching the stuff I love, which is not the Drake leaked video. If you're not a big traveler, Surfshark still lets you tap into 3,200 plus servers in 100 countries. If you want to give it a shot, by the way, they offer their first month with a complete money-back guarantee. And then if you want to get an extra 3 months free, use my promo code RollinsNFL at checkout. Purdy's 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and league-leading 123.3 passer rating against the blitz show just how statistically dominant he is. And when we go deeper into his film, it's because of his ability to read safety rotations, coverages, and his overall poise. A blitz is defined as more than 4 defenders rushing the passer. This can be 5, 6, 7, 8. But obviously, there are diminishing returns. When you're blitzing that 5th defender, you can't have a 2nd safety deep or middle zone defender underneath, can't double anybody. When you blitz the quarterback, since there are 5 receivers, you're basically forced to play some form of man-on-man. The meta for today's defense has way more 5-man fronts as opposed to 4. If all 5 rush the passer, Purdy knows that to play man coverage and keep at least one guy deep, it is incredibly risky to play without a deep safety. The Lions have to play man. If they drop both safeties back, nobody would be covering Christian McCaffrey. If they played one deep and dropped in his own defender, it'd be the same thing. So when Purdy reads the rotation and feels the 5-man pressure, he knows he has Brandon Aiyuk one-on-one and can make the Lions pay. Defenses know they can't just rush the 5 on the line every time. It has pluses, like getting 5 rushers on you right away, but also minuses, like the fact you're blitzing while not really fooling anybody. With 4 on the line, this looks like a regular coverage. Nothing really too fishy about it, but the Lions blitz their linebacker Alex Anzalone. He comes free, which changes the way Purdy reads the concept, and he's able to readjust to McCaffrey immediately because of his processing ability. The 49ers have just their 5 blockers to counter the Lions' 4 pass rushers. They want to make sure they lock up Trent Williams on Aiden Hutchinson to neutralize the Lions' best pass rusher, and they also want to make sure their 5th blocker can take care of the blitzing linebacker, which could be both of them. Because Jack Campbell is closer to Purdy than Anzalone, the Niners slide towards Campbell, which leaves Anzalone free. Williams correctly takes the most inside threat, but Anzalone is unblocked, which makes Purdy hot. When he feels Anzalone coming, he knows that means both safeties aren't playing deep. They can't, because then there would be a receiver unaccounted for. Purdy has to do some quick math and determine that CJ Gardner-Johnson is coming down from depth to cover CMC. He has to. He's the only guy who can do it, so Purdy hits his hot receiver for a big gain. A hot receiver is when you have an unblocked rusher like Anzalone, so instead of maybe reading Debo first, then CMC, Purdy has to change his progression to throw the quicker route underneath. You're not hot on every blitz, just the ones where you have a free runner, so it's on the quarterback to identify the blitz, but also be able to quickly process how it relates to his protection, when he should throw hot versus when he should go through his normal progression, and this is one of the reasons Purdy is so good. Here the Packers only send 3 from on the line of scrimmage, but blitz their nickel and boundary cornerbacks. The 49ers have a longer developing concept where they've dialed up a peel concept to run the coverage off, and have Brandon Aiyuk running a shallow cross into that voided area. The key here is that Purdy's still getting a 5-man blitz, but perfectly understands the relationship between this pressure and his protection on the play. He knows he isn't hot and can hold the ball long enough for Aiyuk to get to his landmark to come open and pick up the first down. Not only is he able to wait in the pocket with poise, but he's also able to stay poised even if he knows he's about to get obliterated. Even with all of Alim McNeill's 315 pounds coming at him unblocked, and remember, Purdy isn't hot here because the 49ers do have a blocker for McNeill initially. Hot receivers are just for times when someone is completely unblocked at the snap. Purdy can hang in and do whatever it takes to get the throw off. I especially like this play because he adds his own wrinkle to it. He knows it's man coverage, but is trying to parse out if Jack Campbell is playing an underneath zone or is playing man coverage. Remember, there's 5 on the line, but there's no guarantee they're all rushing. So Purdy gives McCaffrey a little open hand here to let him know he's going to buzz him outside to see if Campbell follows. And when he does, Purdy knows it's A, man coverage, B, a blitz, and C, he'll have Debo open over the middle since there's no underneath middle help. He's just got to hang in there and get smashed like the Cowboys' playoff hopes. He can stay calm under pressure from defensive linemen or free runners, but also stay poised when the moment is big and the playoffs are on the line. On 3rd and 5 on the big game-winning drive, the Packers show a 2-high shell with 6 on the line, presumably one guarding Kittle and the other guarding McCaffrey. But as I said, at the snap, Purdy excels at reading safety rotations, so when the Packers bring their 5th rusher, the linebacker who was going to guard McCaffrey, he knows the safety is coming down for him, and so the middle of the field will be open for sure. He trusts Aiyuk to win on the slants, but this coverage is spectacular. So Purdy has to put this really in just one spot with the entire season on the line, and look at this location. When people say he's a product of the system, I feel like to me that means everything is predetermined. He's a robot, guys will be schemed open and he just has to hit them on his first read. But you can see him processing so well under pressure, it's just a narrative that is not true. Here is a similar slant route with Aiyuk, where as I said, because the Buccaneers are blitzing, there shouldn't be a zone defender over the middle. Everybody is matched in man, 1 deep safety, 5 on the line rushing. But watch Devin White. When he sees his man George Kittle blocking, he stops worrying that Kittle's running a route and knows he can instead zone off. Purdy doesn't get at all spooked by an unexpected defender sliding right into where he plans to throw. He just rears back calmly and doesn't bat an eye. He's just never phased. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong. We saw him struggle to throw a wet ball in the Packers game. He overcame that. He overcame the 4th quarter deficit against the Lions. Shanahan's never done that. This guy just does not get flustered, and it's because he processes so well. He's not just great post-snap, pre-snap, watch him work. Here he understands he's getting man coverage tails pre-snap based on the defense's alignment. Shanahan puts tight end George Kittle and fullback Kyle Juszczyk outside to see who matches him. If a cornerback matched, it would be a zone tell, because if the corner did that in man, you'd have a linebacker on a receiver one-on-one, no bueno. And when Purdy motions McCaffrey out and the linebacker follows, Purdy sees its man, sees its 1-high safety, and checks to the slot fade to Brandon Aiyuk, a route running away from the 1-high safety. Easy money. One of the last examples we'll dive into doesn't have to do with the blitz, but I love how deep of a mastery he has over Shanahan's scheme. Shanny himself talked about this play where Purdy audibles to a run because he sees 2 high safeties. He knows it'll take too long for both of them to come down to help in the box. And you can see when Juszczyk motions and Purdy sees both safeties are staying high, he audibles to the run. And as Shanahan said, Charlie Woerner was supposed to return motion where he'd motion in and return to his spot. And you can see Juszczyk telling him to go, but with the play clock dwindling down, Purdy stops him, knows they'll get a delay of game if he motions, so Purdy takes what would have been a dead play, audibles into a good one, then makes sure the 49ers don't lose 5 yards or burn a timeout to prevent it. Purdy has proved a lot this past season, not just by orchestrating a really good 49ers offense, but having one of the most statistically dominant seasons we have seen in a long time. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers all never had a season higher than Purdy's 9.6 yards per attempt. Only Kurt Warner in 2000 averaged more, and to find one better than him, you have to go all the way back to 1956. No, Purdy isn't just throwing checkdowns to the flat or screens on the edges to boost up his numbers. He is playing at a real level, and he is shredding the blitz. It's not by playing gimmicky football. not running trick plays or throwing little 2-yard passes. As we saw today, he's processing 5 or more coming, throwing the hot route, finding the voids in coverage, reading rotations, reading coverages pre and post snap, and doing things that game managers, system quarterbacks, whatever, don't and can't do. Brock Purdy is far and away the lesser of the 2 quarterbacks riding into the Super Bowl, but he is a real dude. And as the 49ers' superstar-laden offense gets prepared for the biggest game of their lives, ultimately, Brock Purdy will have to be the one to take them home, and he can.